Welcome to the Pacific Sisters workshop. Yeah, great. Lots of activity happening here. Absolutely. And you're making yourself a necklace?
I want to put it somewhere. I don't know if I'm going to have it.
Okay.
There's some other places I'm going to put it.
Arnie, have you got a moment to speak to me, or perhaps Fiona's busy working too? You're good? Okay, cool. So, would you introduce yourself?
Kia ora, and I'm Annie O'Neill, and I'm part of the Pacific Sisters Collective. I am from Greylin and Rarotonga, so combination Ponsonby and Central Auckland all my life pretty much, but have lived in the Cook Islands for 13 years as well. My mother is Rarotongan and my dad's Irish.
Yeah. So, can you tell me something about what you're doing here today? There's two of the sisters. How many sisters are there?
It's a really fluid collective. We've started with three sisters back in 1992. And they had a workshop together. They called themselves Pacific Sisters. They were Suzanne Tamaki, Nephi Tupaia and Selena Hami. And then they kind of picked up a few along the way, and we've sort of been working together doing fashion shows, performances, art, gallery stuff, activations. We don't call them performances anymore, they're activations. So yeah.
And so
make things.
What motivated the origins of the Pacific Sisters?
I think it was a sense of finding a space together. I mean, I can only sort of speak for my sister friends who started it, but I know that when we all started working together, we really appreciated having like minds where we were sort of urban Pacific, sort of come together and from different parts of the Pacific Islands. We're mostly half something else, and maybe a lot of fruit salad in between. And we sort of shared our culture, which was sort of quite an urban Pacific culture. And we taught each other things about, we were really sort of tactile people. And we taught each other things. I was brought up with my grandparents, and my grandmother taught me lots of skills. From the Cook Islands. Yeah. And growing up in Central Auckland as well, at primary school, Richmond Road Primary, shout out, Ponsonby Intermediate, Auckland Girls Grammar, we're sort of, encouraged. Thank you. We're encouraged to learn how to make stuff in a cultural way. So we shared knowledge.
It's shared knowledge.
Shared stories.
Would you describe yourself then as a Pacific Islander, a Cook Islander, or are you an Auckland Islander? No?
I don't know. I'm a Cook Islander. Pretty straightforward, but again, born in New Zealand and happy to be raised in Auckland, which is, Polynesian biggest city in the world. I wouldn't call myself an Auckland Islander. I'm from Aotearoa.
Okay.
The thing about the Pacific Sisters too was not only sort of like finding each other, but sharing spaces and then creating platforms to show other people. So it's a very kind of collaborative kaupapa, and we really encourage rangatahi as well as intergenerational learning, basically kind of empowering people to be themselves and to find their own identity and create their own style and be proud of who they are.
So what you're wearing now, is that you or is that...
Oh, it's a mixed bag. What have I got? This is, my husband Croc made me that. Fiona made me that. Sophia Tequila Smith made this and gave it to me.
So I've got a Sophia too.
Yeah.
A modest one.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty blingy.
It's pretty good.
And then the earrings were a gift, Nick Von Kay. And then this is a gift from Rosanna, but I printed it at our Savage Club Hui. So this was with our Savage Club crew. Numa Mackenzie did some block printing workshops with us. I printed this and I printed this and this, and Savage Club is kind of an extension of Pacific Sisters whānau. So yes.
Yep. All connected.
Yes.
All connected.
This is from northern group of the Cook Islands, which is beautiful rito woven flower. Te are. And I think I've got like an extra little, just the sort of fluff that you pick off the floor after doing a Pacific Sisters workshop. You don't waste anything. You can just put it on a hair clip, and it's a little kind of extra thing. And I think there's a knitting needle in there too, which is always very handy.
Just in case.
Or crochet hook.
Just in case. Fiona, can I have a word with you? Right, and where would you like us to be? Oh, I see.
To make it easier, your next three. Sorry.
That's all right. No, that's good.
Do you want people next?
I love how people are locked in the chairs working. You're not allowed to leave until you're finished.
No. So when you're folding it, we try and pull it away from you so that it keeps your tension and keeps all those annoying ends together.
Yeah.
And then putting it in the back and holding on to that loop, pulling it through, and then giving it a wiggle, and a pull, and that brings the tension down, and you're on your way into your pattern. Okay, and I'll just finish off this. Hi Doris. Hello. It's all go here on the floor.
It's fantastic. People have really engaged, haven't they?
Yeah, it's been really good. Just some lots of different styles happening already, so that's really great to see. As per this lady in the back here,
and the gentleman,
and somehow it just matches their outfit. It's fantastic.
Remarkable.
So it's amazing. Yeah.
And so, do you know why? No, you have a seat.
Sure.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
And so, tell me, why do you call them fluffies?
It's a descriptive term.
Yes. Well, I guess it's the texture on your skin. It's nice and soft and fluffy. So that's probably why we maybe call them fluffies. But maybe every sister has their own story behind that. But it's it's an early one of the first skills that I learnt coming to the group. How to do that.
What are your origins? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Aotearoa NZ Fiona. I'm Samoan European. I've been born in Auckland and I've lived here all my life. My parents are Samoan European. I grew up doing music and ballet and felt quite disassociated from my Samoan roots, and when I left music school, which was quite early on, I was really sort of looking for, just uncovering I think I was part of that generation that was looking to uncover more about my Samoan heritage. The idea of New Zealand, Aotearoa, being a nation in the Pacific back in the 90s was foreign. It was all about Mother England and that kind of thing. So coming across the Pacific Sisters in the nightclubs and the streets and meeting just through association, it was like connecting to a group of people whose own elders had the culture and the language had all been suppressed in those generation, and we were the generation that was really trying to grapple and hold on and seek out that knowledge that was that Indigenous knowledge that wasn't there any longer, or if it was in bits and pieces. And funny being in this Auckland Public Library, because way back in the days before the internet, we used to come here a lot and go up into the research library and be looking for, in the Journal of the Polynesian Society, looking for legends and just information and sharing that with one another and connecting on that level, and from that kind of genesis of hunger for that thing, we started to create things together. But also, you know, it wasn't just us alone. It was in a whole wave of arts and culture rising up in urban Pacific environment in the 90s that was happening, and we were a part of that. And a lot of the artists that performers and dancers and fashion people, they've all come into the group, coming in at different times and contributing according to the project, and a lot of them have gone on to, you know, do their own careers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so you're not a fixed group that hangs out somewhere. You come together to create.
Yes, Rosanna and I, we were around in the early Pasifika fashion show when Auckland Council rang up Rosanna and said, we want to do a Pacific Islands fashion show. Do you think you could put one on? And she'd come back from Europe as a model, and she was sort of over modelling, and she really, you know, she was doing styling pieces and looking for that brown face, I guess, in a more positive light in the mainstream. And that's where she kind of started, you know, organising things, and I was around at the time and I just helped her in those days. But, you know, it was back in the 90s, it was very common to have the only interest stories in Pacific culture or Māori culture, you know, on programs about crime or in poor housing, or, you know, all those sort of sad statistics. And this was about trying to bring that presence that was there, but it was, you know, it was, you couldn't quite see it. It was trying to bring that platform
Bring it to
up.
life. Yeah, bring it to life.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing too is that that all the people who came to you brought different talents. So you've come with your music, and Rosanna with her modelling and fashion experience.
Yeah.
You know, Arnie from the arts background. So yeah.
And I think throughout that time, I mean, I didn't start making until maybe, you know, after I had kids, and I'd always sort of seen the girls making things, and that was one of my, you know, I really want to have a go. And I went to Auckland, I went back to university, and I actually did some Māori material culture with, my goodness.
With my goodness, yes.
No, with, Maureen Landers, yes. And she's taught many of us, actually, some of the techniques that we use, the older techniques. And I remember one of the first plats that she ever taught us was the 8 plat, which was the plat that Maui snared the sun with. And, you know, from that, you know, I was basically hooked, and so our roles have kind of changed, and they still change, you know. So
yes, it's dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's innovative. So there's a lot of techniques that have their origins in traditional practice, but you subvert that in the materials that you use and how you work.
Well, yeah, back you know, in the early 90s, there was actually a bit of it was hard to get hold of traditional materials, and so, like all makers, you know, you just try and utilise what's around, but also it was about trying to recycle, upcycle what we have already and what's available to us, and I guess that's where that mix of materials is coming in. But, you know, it's that dynamicism in Indigenous culture, you know, where perhaps it's viewed as, oh, it's something of the past, and that's completely untrue. You know, Māori women were undoing the wool of woolen blankets when land was being sold for blankets, and weaving that into the cloaks, into the kakahu. So there's always been that innovation there. So, really we're just continuing on those, standing on those shoulders.
Yes, so fashion is always about the new and innovation and responding to the environment that we live in. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, great. Oh, so nice. Are you going to make one too?
Of course. I'm matching my trousers.
So this is Zoe's going to be talking to Kiri Nathan a bit later on today. But she's come to get her hand in first.
Of course. So beautiful. Annie has shown me how to make a fabulous necklace. So that's a fluffy.
Have you made one of these before?
No, this is my first go, but luckily it's incredibly easy and super effective with the materials. So it's totally my kind of making. Easy yet effective. Yeah. So I'll be matching my pants with the colours.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. And so what's happening up here on the rail?
It's the same thing but different colours, and it's very simple. Very cool.
And you've left gaps?
Yeah, we're going to put black in between each one.
Ah.
Short black one.
Okay.
Okay.
And who decided on the colour scheme?
Well, it started, orange was already there, and then they saw me wearing red, and they were like, let's get some red on you. And now we're just going to put black in between each one, which is very cool.
Beautiful. Thank you. Oh, should we sing from first one? Oh, should we start again?
Okay.
Oh, kari ngā wairo tunua hei te ata koi hine marina ne Aotearoa